Everybody has childhood memories playing games, right? You know, the ones that you truly remember playing? Like, I can imagine a lot of people my age grew up playing stuff like the original Halo, pre-3DS Pokemon games, and maybe even A Dog's Life. Why the fuck did I used to play this game? It's got a dedicated poo button. Well, I personally have fond memories playing a beautiful little game called Ratchet Clank. What the fuck are you looking at? Ratchet & Clank is a 3D platforming action game that was released on the 4th of November 2002. It was released to critical success, and honestly, rightfully so. I fucking love this game. Actually, I love this whole series, to an extent. The first game meant so much to me. I even have an old YouTube channel where I made Let's Play videos dedicated to the games.
It's doing something. It looks like it's constipated.
So yeah. Let's talk about Ratchet & Clank. The game stars a Lombax called Ratchet, who I swear to God turned a lot of kids into furries, and a little dibby robot named Clank. It starts with Ratchet trying to fix his ship so he can leave his home planet and explore the universe, because he's been stuck there all his life, whilst on a different planet Clank is being born. Yeah, I'm not kidding you, you witness Clank's birth, and he's a birth defect, which is why I can relate to his character so much. Alright, Dad.
Oh, fuck off, birth defect.
Anyway, Clank sees the main villain's plan and escapes in a hurry because he wants to warn Captain Quark, who is seen as the biggest superhero in the galaxy for context. He gets shot down whilst escaping and crash lands on Ratchet's home planet, Velden. Ratchet witnesses the ship crash land on his planet and bam, that's how the game starts. Not a single piece of dialogue spoken, yet it gives the player a drive instantly to follow the objective. Speaking of dialogue, the first interaction they have is Clank scaring the shit out of Ratchet.
Interesting.
Clank was conveniently the only thing Ratchet was missing to fix his ship, which allows him to leave and explore the universe, basically starting the game. But it ends abruptly because Ratchet crashes and they both die horribly. For the first 1/3 of the game, the main objective is just trying to find Captain Quark for Clank. But because they don't know his exact location, they're constantly looking for clues and being sent to different places, acquiring new gadgets and weapons along the way. The game has an insanely enjoyable gameplay loop, where on each new planet you come across, there are usually multiple different routes to take. You have no idea what is at the end of each one. It could either be a gadget or, say, coordinates to a new planet. But sometimes these paths can't be accessed until you acquire a certain gadget from another planet, giving a great sense of exploration, because it rewards the player for doing as much as they can on each planet. On the topic of exploration, there isn't a single planet that isn't an absolute joy to explore. In each area there are these collectibles called gold bolts, and they are hidden in really creative ways. I actually had to look up a guide to find some of these bad boys on my platinum run. I'm afraid to admit, you know, just don't judge me that hard, I mean, fuck you. Clank gets an upgrade really early in the game. It gives him fucking helicopter blades, allowing him to glide and do long jumps, which are extremely enjoyable to do. It then later becomes a fucking jetpack, but honestly, I've always preferred the helipack. There's something about how the thruster pack looks on the back of Ratchet. It just looks clunky. On every planet there are enemies you have to kill, and these enemies drop a currency called bolts, which make an extremely satisfying sound when you collect them. This currency can be spent on weapons, and something I like is when you buy a new weapon, a little animation plays of Ratchet looking really chuffed with his purchase. Even if the weapon is complete fucking shit. The weapons are ridiculously creative. All I need to say is there's a weapon that can turn enemies into chickens. That basically sums up how dumb and creative they can be. The bolts earned can also be spent on NPCs who are holding gadgets or even coordinates to new planets. Something you notice quite quickly though is that the inhabitants on each planet are mainly just looking out for themselves. They make you pay for shit that they know will assist you in saving the universe. They're complete fucking assholes. So yeah, the NPCs actually feel like real people because they're absolute selfish cunts. Luckily, Ratchet reacts realistically to these fuckers in the cutscenes, which is a very nice touch.
How about I sell you these at cost? Sell? After we just saved your scrawny butt? Alright.
What I love about both Ratchet and Clank is the dynamic they have. They are both the complete opposite in terms of personality.
I like him.
Clank is an optimistic little fellow who just wants to help people, and he's super nerdy. Whilst Ratchet on the other hand is a dude bro who mainly just looks out for himself and is generally just a complete asshole. Ratchet constantly causes them to get sidetracked to focus on things for his own selfish needs. An example of this is helping a hoverboarder called Skid McMarks. Yeah, that's his actual name. Clear an area of sand sharks just so he can get a hoverboard he's always wanted. He even shuts Clank up whilst he's talking about not getting too sidetracked to focus on the main mission once he hears about getting a free hoverboard that he wants.
I just might have a spare hoverboard for you.
We'd love to help you, Mr. McMarks, but Ratchet and I need to find Captain...
One of your boards? I've always wanted a decent hoverboard. Well, alright.
So remember how I said Clank wanted to warn Captain Quark about the main villain's plan? The main villain's called Chairman Drek, by the way. I should have pointed that out. He's a little midget. He's a twat. Well, they do find Captain Quark and he betrays you and tries getting you fucking killed. Ratchet of course sees this coming from a mile away, but Clank falls for it, dragging Ratchet into it too. This of course pisses Ratchet off so much to the point that he starts to treat Clank like shit for the rest of the game.
Yeah? Why don't you go help him? Into another trap? Well, go on. Go fight some evil.
At least I'm not a coward.
Honestly, the rest of the game is mainly Ratchet being stubborn, wanting to fuck up Quark because of what he did, whilst Clank still wants to focus on saving the universe. They stick together because they know that they need each other for both of their own ideals, so they forcefully work together, making them constantly fight, you know, because they're always together. They're getting sick of each other's shit. That is until Ratchet has a fucking character arc. That's right folks, a character arc in a 3D platformer game for the PS2. You don't get shit like this in the Tasmanian Tiger. After finally defeating Quark, Ratchet realizes how stubborn he's been this whole time and decides to focus on saving the galaxy with Clank. This is because he realizes the damage that Chairman Drek is causing.
Look, maybe you were right. This is a lot bigger than you or me. I was really selfish focusing on Quark.
It is not too late to stop Drek.
Hey, yeah! We've got this new ship. Let's go get him.
Now you are talking.
It's pretty simple shit, but it works well. Speaking of simple, effective shit, there's a scene near the end of the game where they both revisit the factory where Clank was made, and there's a scene where Clank talks to his mother, and it gets me every time.
I will try to make you proud, Mom.
Come on, Insomniac, stop. Okay, enough gushing about the story and characters. Let's talk about the real meaty bit of the game. The actual planets. Each planet you explore is unique in its own way. These planets can range from a bustling, vibrant city, a heavily polluted industrial planet, a depot within a volcanic environment, and so on. Each planet is introduced to the player in different ways. For example, one of the planets is shown for a news report of a robot woman being fucking devoured by that one bitch from Monsters Inc. Of course Ratchet reacts appropriately to this.
I hope that poor woman is alright.
She's fine.
Oh, and did I mention the music for the planets? Oh boy, the music. You could legit play any track and I'd know exactly what planet it's from. Each song is so unique to the point that they all stand out, and they all have this insanely funky feel to it. It just makes me wanna... When it comes to the music though, there's one level that truly sticks out. The place known as Oltanis Orbit Gemlik Base. Let's just say the music truly sets the tone for a space station set in the vacuum of space. God, this music hit me hard when I was younger. This shit has stuck with me for a while. You know what? Whilst we're on the subject of the game's music, here's a few of the other tracks I absolutely love. Okay, so the last thing I'm going to talk about in this video is my favourite level in the entire game. This level is called Nebula G34, or Blarg Station for short. To begin with, I'd like to talk about how much I love how the level is introduced to the player. It's like a commercial looking for employees to work for Drek testing weapons and gadgets at the station. But like, it does such an awful job at promoting it. The amount of employees shown either severely injured or killed is ridiculous. It's so fucking dumb, but I love it. Also, Drek says, he says BTS a bunch, which, haha, he clearly loves K-pop. It makes me want to murder him even more.
BTS.
So of course you travel to the place, and the first thing you're hit with is the atmosphere and music. Holy shit, it's so good. The level splits off into 3 different paths, each path holding a different reward. The first path I want to talk about is a section where you are sent out into the exterior of the station as Clank. Did I mention you can also play as Clank in this game? Because you can, he has a few sections, they're not too bad. Either way, being outside the station as Clank truly gives off the same feeling as Gemlik base, and I love it. I honestly love how you can see sections you'll be exploring later as Ratchet once you get back. It's a simple section that does not outstay its welcome. It also gives you a good understanding of how Clank's mechanics work. Also, how the fuck does he fit that thing inside of him? Once you get back to Ratchet, there are 2 more paths you can take. And, oh boy. One of the main reasons why this level has stuck out to me so much is the fact it's not easy. No, it's actually quite hard. Going down one of the other paths introduces this new enemy, which honestly scared the shit out of me as a kid, both visually and mechanically. Okay, so basically at this point in the game, your wrench has been super reliable and can easily stagger enemies, making the game decently trivial at this point. But no, these fuckers do stagger, but they instantly snap back right after, taking away a chunk of your life. It forces the player to experiment with the weapons they've acquired at this point to take down these fuckers rather than using their wrench. It's great. But the biggest fuck you from the developers in this level is making the boss the fucking mother of them. After defeating the mother, you acquire another gadget. The gadget being the grind boots, which are super fun to use. Oh hey look, we're in that tunnel that we could see from Clank's section. The final path you go down takes you to an isolated ship off to the side of the station. And the first thing that hits you again is the atmosphere and music. This section is quite short compared to the others because it has a gimmick that I can imagine gave a lot of us PTSD as kids. Pressing this beautiful big red button here sets off a fucking self-destruct system, and you have to run all the way back to the ship while there's a bunch of those fucking enemies. They're constantly just snipping at your ass the whole time. It's fucking tense as shit. If you make it out alive, you get coordinates for the next planet, which has an even more tense section where water rises and you almost drown all the time. Jesus fucking Christ. So yeah, I love Ratchet and Clank. And you should totally play it. I don't really know how to end this video.
Now is your opportunity to see if you've got the stuff heroes are made of. This infobot contains coordinates to
my Discord server and Twitter.